Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. If you're just joining us, we're talking about organ donation. And my next guests are the parents of a young man who was waiting for a heart transplant but never actually received one. Bob and Mary Evans used their painful journey to help others going through the arduous transplant process. Thank you so much for joining us to talk about this. First of all, can you tell us Jeffrey's story after going through what you saw of this transplant process? We talked a little bit off camera. You said, you know, he'd gotten to a point where he thought he was going to have a heart.
Yes.
But what happened?
Okay, Jeff's story started in 2003. He was 23 years old. He was 6'4", healthy, athletic. He was a 4-star chef, rising quickly in the culinary world in Atlanta. And the restaurant that he worked for liked to do charitable events. And Jeffrey always volunteered to do that because that's just the kind of guy he was. So all I know about that event, it was in South Georgia. It was on a Saturday. It was an outside event, and the weather was not cooperating. So when Jeff came home, he felt like he had the flu. And so he stayed at our house for a few days, and we realized quickly that he was not getting better. So we took him to the local emergency room, and they did an x-ray, and his heart was the size of a small soccer ball, and virtually 80% of his function had been destroyed. Wow. So Jeff lived the next 3 years on the heart transplant list. He was quickly transferred to St. Joseph's Hospital, spent the month of June there, and was put on the transplant list. And we would go in for tune-ups probably every 2 or 3 months just to get him kind of feeling better and all of his vitals working well. And we did that for about a year, and then we got a call there was a heart. This was the most exciting day in the life of the Evans family, as you can imagine. If you had been there, you would have seen Jeff literally run through the emergency room, grab the elevator, fly into the IC unit, and pick up his favorite nurse and twirl her around the area and just saying, "I'm here for my heart." He was so excited. So it took a long time to get him prepped for surgery. They had to thicken his blood and that kind of thing. So it took hours and hours to do that. But Bob and I walked down to the surgery room with him, kissed him on the forehead. We said, "We'll see you, bud, in a couple hours, maybe 8 hours." And we went over to the cafeteria. And it was only less than an hour, one of the nurses came down and said, "We need you up in the unit." And we went up to the unit, and there was Jeff back in his bed. The heart had not been viable for transplant. So that was the hardest day short of the day that he passed for our family to deal with all of this. But we got through it, and he lasted another couple of years. And we thought we were going in for another tune-up, and Jeffrey never came home. He took his last breath on August 6th of 2006. He was 26 years old when he passed.
So sorry to hear that.
So,
you know the ups and downs and just what you went through waiting for that heart.
Yes.
And you wanted to do something because you saw what those families needed too. What was it like? Where do you guys live?
Ball Ground.
And you would drive to St. Joe's back and forth?
Yes.
How many miles is that?
A lot, and I could have done it blindfolded at the end of 3 years.
Right.
Yes.
So you saw a need for some type of residency in town to help these families.
Yes.
What did you decide to do?
Well, go ahead.
Based on all that, in time that had elapsed over that period of time, we decided we wanted to give something back, somehow do something in the transplant world. And our first option that we chose was, believe it or not, to give away cashmere socks to every transplant patient, because Jeffrey's circulation had never been to par. His feet were always freezing cold, and Mary would rub them and would bring down extra socks. And when Jeff basically took his last breath, his brother just made an exclamation in the room that he deserved far better. He deserved cashmere socks. And that was what prodded us along to think maybe we could do that. And we started to look into that, but then really realized much more is needed. So we decided it was something that we could probably do if we could just figure out how to get it done, and that was to provide lodging for transplant patients. And having looked into a lot of things available to us, we came to the conclusion that we had to do this, actually. And we actually met another family who was involved with other things, kind of similar to what we're doing. And based on that, we decided we would do this and charge nobody anything, we would absorb the cost 100% for lodging.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
that's where we're at today. We are doing what we said we would do. It's taken a lot of time to get to this point. We're there.
It's so professionally decorated, Mary. I understand that's you.
That's my joy in the whole thing. I have a route of thrift stores and junk stores and consignment stores, and I go to estate sales and pick up. It's amazing what you can find. But we also have people donate furniture, which is a really big help, because the more furniture that's donated, the cost to open an apartment goes down significantly. So
Your vision to have an entire building at some point, I understand?
Yes.
So we're going to make sure we let the businesses know how they can help you with
Yes.
this project.
We do need funds for that. This is the year that we begin to do that. We would like to have a standalone transplant house that would house 20 two-bedroom apartments, and then have our offices and storage and everything else that we need. So it'll cost a lot of money, but it's going to get done.
Well, we're going to let you know right now, if you want to help the Jeffrey Evans Foundation helping families undergoing the transplant process, check out their website, jcevansfoundation.org. What a handsome young man. And just ahead on Public Affairs on Peach, we're going to introduce you to some Georgians whose lives were saved when they received the gift of life through organ donation. We'll be right back.